Saga of Volsungs is one of the most notable masterpieces of Norse folklore literature. The saga is mainly focused on the lives of the king Volsung, his son Sigmund, and daughter Signy. The essence of the saga is, however, much deeper than the simple biography of several people. It is the reflection of certain processes and phenomena that took place in the Scandinavian society in the epoch depicted in the saga. Moreover, values and ideas of that society are reflected in the saga of Volsungs. Such phenomena as manhood and the role of masculinity in the society is depicted by the saga, but the special place in it is taken by the family values as viewed by Norse people of those times.
Pilsner Adventurer, you have been seeking for the hidden story of Norse myth or folk tales. With this book which you hold contains guide that you will need to proceed with your adventure. The riddles will suit as your guide for you to complete the story. Lykke til.
And I am color green. In your yard I can be seen. I am color green. Grass! Grass is the first riddle! This is the first piece. There are hundreds of these in a graveyard. But dead bodies, it is not. It's what contains all the info as to who's in each burial plot. Tombstone. The second riddle is tombstone. Hundreds of these in a graveyard. Tombstone. So easy. The second clue. It's the second part. The more you take away, the bigger I become. What am I? The more you take away, the bigger I become. What am I? The bigger you take away, the more you take away, the bigger I become. A hole. A hole. Two parts in one riddle. There's no 6 riddles, so 5 and 6 may be together. Deciduous or evergreen in a forest is where I'm seen. Trees. In a forest is where I'm seen. Trees. This is an odd tree. The 5th piece. And it has a bonus of the 6th piece. I'm off to my second to the last riddle. It's the 7th riddle. It's not in your tummy, but it's somewhere about. It is often thought of a symbol of love. Symbol of love. Heart. Center. heart center. I'm in the center of this place. So where could that be? Ooh. My second to the last piece. I need to solve these puzzles. The last one is just inside the book. And the eighth one. Sigurd the Volsung mythology is complete. It's complete! Sigurd was raised by the king of Denmark and was treated as if he was the king's own son. Through a challenge by Regin, his tutor, Sigurd goes to find himself a horse that would be suitable for himself. Guided by Odin, Sigurd finds a gray horse which he ended up calling Granny. On the second and last challenge, Regin sends Sigurd to kill his brother Fafnir, a dragon. In order to do so, Sigurd had Regin recreate the sword of his father and renamed it Gram. With Gram and some guidance from his tutor, Sigurd departs on his adventure to go slay the dragon. Regin had suggested that he dig a pit in the ground, and when the dragon traveled over the pit, Sigurd would pierce the heart of the dragon. In the midst of digging the hole, Odin once again approaches Sigurd and suggests that he dig many more pits and have them leading off of the main pit. That way, when the dragon's armor was pierced by Gram, the flood of dragon's blood wouldn't drown him in the pit. Sigurd waited patiently, and once the dragon was over the pit, he plunged the sword into the dragon's heart. When the dragon was dead, Regin asked of one last favor. Since Fafnir was his brother and had murdered his father, Regin wanted Sigurd to roast the dragon's heart so he could eat it. While Sigurd was roasting the heart, some of the bloody juices dripped onto Sigurd's hand and burned his finger. His instant reaction was to plunge his finger into his mouth, and to his amazement, as soon as he did that, he was able to hear and understand the language of birds. He listened to them talk among each other as they described how Regin was tricking Sigurd, and that by eating the dragon's heart, Regin would be the wisest of all men. Sigurd, seeing the betrayal, took things into his own hands and cut off the head of Regin's and drank the blood of both dragons and Regins, along with eating most of the dragon's heart. With the dragon and Regin both out of the picture, Sigurd took the ring that is cursed by Dwarf Andvari during an adventure that Loki was part of Fafnir, and rode into the den and collected all of Fafnir's golden treasures.
Stop, stop, stop. Wait. Before I continue this report, I just want to introduce myself and my report. So, I am Jesus Tumentel, and I'm about to report who is Sigurd, and I will be the one who continue the story about Sigurd the Volsung that Ati Jiffer has already started. So, let's go. In Norse myth and legend, the warrior Sigurd was a member of the royal family of Denmark and a descendant of the god Odin. He was raised by a blacksmith named Regine who made him a special sword from pieces of a sword owned by Sigurd's father. Sigurd used his swords to kill the dragon Fafnir and so acquired its golden treasure. When Sigurd roasted and ate the beast's heart, he was able to understand the language of the birds around him. They warned him that Regine was going to betray him. So Sigurd beheaded the blacksmith. Sigurd took the treasure and put a ring on his finger. He was unaware that the ring bore a curse which brought misfortune to its wearer. After slaying Fafnir, Sigurd came upon a castle where he awakened the warrior maiden Brunhild, whom Odin had cast into deep sleep. Sigurd gave his ring to Brunhild and promised to return to marry her. But during his journey, Sigurd was given a magic drink that made him forget Brunhild, and he married the princess Gudrun instead. Sigurd is a legendary hero of Germanic heroic legend, who killed a dragon and was later murdered. It is impossible that he was inspired by one or more figures from the Frankish Merovingian dynasty, with Sigebert I being the most popular contender. Older scholarship sometimes connected him with Arminius, victor of the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest. The earliest instant representation for Sigurd's legend come in pictorial form from 9 runic inscriptions in Sweden and crosses from the British Isles dating from the 11th century. That's all about Sigurd, so let's go to continue the story. Taking the advice from the birds, Sigurd then rode off to Hinfil in order to awake the Valkyrie Brunhild, who was surrounded by a blazing ring of fire from a deep sleep that Odin had put her in for disobedience. By pulling out a thorn out of the back of her hand, Sigurd woke her from a deep and undisturbed sleep. She explained to him that Odin has predicted that a great warrior would ride through the ring of fire and awaken her, and that only he among mortals has great courage that she desired. Seeing the beauty and wisdom that she possessed, Sigurd chose her to be his wife and gave an Varys gold ring and swore that she would be his only wife or that he would have no wife at all. while Brunhild remained to Hindfield. Sigurd then traveled to the kingdom south of the Rhine River, where he met King Guiki, his three children Gunnar, Hogni, and Guttorm, and his wife, fierce-hearted wife, Queen Grimhild. Seeing the wealth, fame, and glory that follows Sigurd, Queen Grimhild decides to drug his drink, causing him to forget all about Brunhild and the promises that he had swore to her. The cunning queen convinces the king to offer their daughter's hand in marriage by pointing out all the good qualities Sigurd has. He has the greatest of all hearts and is trustworthy, helpful, and the strength that he possesses surpasses all others. Sigurd accepts the offer with great pleasure and married Gudrun.
So after Sigurd accepted the offer with great pleasure and married Gudrun, and then Gunnar convinces Sigurd to ride with him up in the Hindfell in order to pursue Brunhild. But his lack of courage prevents him to ride forward through the ring of fire in order to get her. He teaches Sigurd magic and convinces him to change his shape and form in order to ride through the fire as Gunnar and to win Brunhild over. So, having no lack of courage, Sigurd rides through the flames, marries Brunhild, but still in the shape of Gunnar, and brings her back to the castle to live together. So a big turn of events happen when, through an argument, Gudrun tells Brunhild that it was Sigurd who rode through the flames at the Hindfell, and that she had married a coward who couldn't go through the flames himself. So outraged by the lies, trickery, and deceit, Brunhild persuades Gunnar through a series of stories and lies of her own to go out hunting with his brother Hogni, in which they plotted and planned to kill Sigurd. When Sigurd stopped to take a drink of water at the river, Guttorm plunged his sword through Sigurd's only weak spot, identified by a leaf pattern stitched into his hunting outfit that his wife made on his back. The fatal wound was too much for Sigurd, and he lay dying among the wildflowers. So his last request to Guttorm was to tell his kin that, "You have killed an honorable man this day." at the request of Brunhild, and shortly after she plunged a sword into her side, located right below her armpit. Sigurd and herself were placed next to each other in the pyre, having ground placed between them and having rich tapestries and golden shield all around the pyre. Just before life had faded from Brunhild, she foretold Gunnar's terrible future, which consisted of her whole family dying from fighting among each other. And she will cast herself into the sea, where Andvari's ring and all the golden treasure would be returned to its depth, and the curse will be buried with the treasure.
May I request everyone to please settle down as we were about to start our program in just 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever Kalokalek show here in Plazuela, Concepcion, Tarlac. I am Miss Erica Ariana Escal, one of your hosts for today morning. And joining me is my partner.
Good day, everyone. I am Joshua Nuanti Oliveros, and thank you for joining us today. We have a wonderful show for you guys. And can we have some big round of applause?
Can you show us some excitement? Thank you. Today, different contestants will exhibit and showcase their chosen god and goddesses.
And they will also share some information with us.
That would be a great time for them to show their creativity.
At wala nang patumpik-tumpik pa, let's welcome candidate number 1.
Freya is one of the most important goddess of Norse mythology, who was the sister and female counterpart of Freyr, and her father was Njord, the sea god. She is regarded as the goddess of beauty and sex, similar to Aphrodite in Greek mythology. She is a member of the Vanir tribe of deities, but became an honorary member of the Aesir gods after the Aesir-Vanir War. Her husband, named Odir, in late Old Norse literature is certainly none other than Odin, and accordingly, Freya is ultimately identical with Odin's wife, Frigg. Freya is famous for her fondness of love, fertility, beauty, and fine material possessions. And because of these predilections, she is considered to be something of the party girl of the Aesir. Fun fact about Freya. Freya's chariot was pulled not by horses but by 2 male cats. Both cats were described as being blue or gray and had been a gift from Thor. Their names bestowed upon them not by the ancient Norse but by a modern author, according to the Viking answer lady, were Bygul and Treygul. I am Freya, the goddess of love, fertility, sex, battle, pleasure, and the most beautiful and propitious of the goddesses.
That was a great performance, di ba, partner?
Oo nga, partner. We learned something in just some minutes. Thank you, contestant number 1.
And for that, let us all welcome candidate number 2.
Hel is the queen of the afterlife realm of Hel in Norse mythology. She is the daughter of the god Loki and giantess Angrboda, and sister of Fenrir the wolf and Jormungandr the word serpent. Although often referred as a goddess, Hel is more of a half-goddess and Jotun, an entity from Jotunheim, realm of the giants. Her name means hidden and refers to the dead who are either buried or cremated and whose souls are invisible to the living. The entity Hel is depicted as half beautiful women and half blue decomposing corpse. I am Hel, the goddess of death and the underworld.
That was a great performance, partner.
True partner. And I want more, kaya ituloy na natin to.
Let's welcome contestant number 2.
Skadi, the giant wife of the sea god Nord, in order to avenge the death of her father, the giant Thjazi, Skadi took up arms and went to attack the rival tribe of the gods, the Aesir, in Asgard, home of the gods. The Aesir, wanting to appease her anger, offered her the choice of one of their number for a husband, with the stipulation that she choose a god by his legs or feet alone. She chose Nord, thinking that he was the fair god Balder. Their marriage failed because Nord preferred to live by the sea, and Skadi was happier in her father's home in the mountains. In some sources, Skadi was known as the goddess of snowshoes. Another tradition relates that Skadi later married the god Odin and bore him sons. I am Skadi, the goddess of hunting and mountains.
Every contestant have shown mastery of the report. Creativity pala, partner.
Parang familiar yung line na yun, partner. Since we're running out of time,
Dahil 10 minutes lang yung screen time natin,
ituloy na natin to.
let us all welcome our candidate
Number 4.
In the comic books, Loki is the adopted brother and arch-nemesis of Thor, but in Norse mythology, he is the son of Loki and Jotun and is Odin's blood brother. He sired the vicious wolf and Rear and the serpent Jormungandr, as well as Odin's 8-legged horse. He is also the father of goddess Hel, who reigns over the realm of the dead. Loki is not usually considered one of the Aesir due to his trickery, because amongst other things, the death of Balder, and the Aesir can never be sure whether he is assisting them or hindering them. I am Loki, the god of mischief and fire.
What a great performance, partner.
Oo nga, partner. In just a few minutes, it's like actually we are meeting different gods and goddesses in Norse mythology.
And we can't wait to watch on our next episode.
And that will be all for today's episode.
Once again, ito ang
Look Alike in Norse mythology.
Bye-bye!